I had been living in my RV for almost a year, just me, the road, and wherever the GPS decided to take me next. No rent, no boss, no neighbors banging on the walls at 2 a.m., just endless highways and quiet campgrounds hidden deep in the woods. At least, that's what I thought I wanted, until the night near Prospect, Oregon. I found the campsite on one of those free camping apps RV travelers swear by. It was an old logging site, long abandoned. When I arrived, the place looked exactly like the kind of quiet escape I'd been searching for, a wide gravel clearing surrounded by towering pine trees, overgrown trails disappearing into the forest, and scattered rusted metal scraps half buried in the dirt. Leftovers from logging equipment decades ago. A small creek ran beside the clearing, its water softly gurgling over rocks. At first it felt peaceful, perfect even, but something about the place didn't sit right with me. You know that feeling when your brain quietly whispers that something's off even when you can't explain why? Yeah. That feeling. I parked my RV near the creek and started setting up camp, folding table out, portable stove ready, solar lantern placed on the table for the evening. The forest was almost completely silent except for the creek, too silent. Every now and then I caught myself glancing over my shoulder like someone might be standing just beyond the trees watching me. I tried to laugh it off, isolation does weird things to your head. But then I heard something, an engine, low and rumbling in the distance. A few seconds later a rusty van rolled slowly into the clearing, kicking up dust behind it. It parked about 100 yards away near a cluster of old trailers tucked behind the trees. Two men stepped out. The first guy was shorter, with a scruffy beard and a stained flannel shirt, his hands twitching nervously. The second guy was taller, wearing a denim jacket, calm, almost too calm. He moved slowly, scanning the entire clearing like he was studying the place. Then his eyes landed on my RV and stayed there. For a moment we just stared at each other across the clearing. I gave a polite wave, but neither of them waved back. The tall guy just kept staring, cold and expressionless, before they both turned and walked toward the trailers without saying a word, and a chill crawled down my spine. I tried to ignore it, finished setting up, and made dinner, a simple can of chili heated on the stove, but instead of eating outside like I usually did, I went inside the RV, locked the door, checked every window latch, and pulled the curtains closed. The quiet outside suddenly felt heavier. Branches snapped occasionally somewhere in the woods, an owl called in the distance, and every sound made me jump. Hours passed like that until around 10 p.m. when I heard it, footsteps, slow, crunching on the gravel outside, not walking past but circling my RV. My heart started pounding so loud I was sure whoever was outside could hear it. I crept toward the window and slowly pulled back the curtain just enough to peek outside. Under the faint glow of my exterior light I saw him, the shorter man, standing just beyond the edge of my campsite, hands in his pockets, staring directly at my door, not moving, just watching. And my stomach dropped. Then a voice came from the darkness beyond the light. "Hey! You in there?" It was the tall guy. His voice sounded calm, almost friendly, but something about it made my skin crawl. "We're just checking if you're okay," he called out. "Saw you're alone out here." The word alone hit me like a punch. I hadn't told them that, we hadn't spoken, so how did they know? I stayed silent, my hand hovering over the flashlight on the counter. Outside, the shorter guy stepped closer, his boots scraping slowly against the gravel. "Come on, man," he said. "Open the door. We just want to talk." I didn't move. The RV suddenly felt very small and very fragile. Then 3 heavy knocks hit the door, thud, thud, thud. "Don't make this hard," the tall man whispered. "We know you've got stuff in there, food, gear. Maybe more." My blood ran cold. This wasn't curiosity, they were planning something. I grabbed the only weapon I had, a kitchen knife. My phone sat on the counter beside it, no signal. Of course. Out here in the middle of nowhere there were 0 bars. The tall man knocked again, harder this time, rattling the door in its frame. Then the knocking stopped, and for a moment everything was quiet. And then I heard it, a faint metallic scraping sound. They were messing with the lock. My heart slammed against my ribs. They were trying to break in. Just as panic started taking over, another voice suddenly cut through the darkness, a woman's voice. "Stop it. Leave him alone." I looked out the window again and saw a thin woman standing beside the men. Her hair was messy, her jacket worn and dirty, and she hugged her arms tightly like she was freezing. "You're going too far," she snapped at the tall guy. "This isn't what we agreed on." "Shut up, Karen," the shorter man barked. "You're in this too." She shook her head and suddenly looked toward my RV. "I'm sorry," she shouted. "They're not good people. Please. You have to help me." My mind froze. Was she serious, or was this some kind of trick? Opening the door could get me killed, but her voice sounded terrified, desperate. The tall man suddenly grabbed her arm and yanked her backward. "Keep your mouth shut," he growled. She struggled free. "I'm done with this," she yelled. "You said we were just scouting places." Scouting. My stomach turned. They had been watching me, waiting, looking for easy targets, RV travelers alone in remote campgrounds. Predators. And tonight, I was the prey. That's when I made a decision. I quietly slid into the driver's seat, keys shaking in my hand. The knife rested beside me on the passenger seat. I turned the ignition and the RV engine roared to life. Outside someone shouted, "He's starting it." I slammed the RV into gear. Gravel sprayed everywhere as I floored the gas pedal. In the rearview mirror I saw the men sprinting toward their van while Karen stood frozen in the clearing watching me leave. The narrow dirt road twisted through the forest, branches scraping against the sides of the RV as I sped through the darkness. Then headlights appeared behind me, the van. They were chasing me. My heart felt like it might explode. The van was faster, closing the distance every second. Suddenly, thud. Something slammed into the back of the RV, maybe a rock or a tool. Another impact followed, crack. The rear hatch dented inward. I gripped the steering wheel tighter. "Come on. Come on," I whispered. Then ahead in the distance I saw light, a paved road. Hope surged through me and I pushed the RV as hard as it would go. The van was right behind me now, close enough that I could see the tall man's face lit by the dashboard. Then suddenly red and blue lights flashed ahead, a police car parked along the road. I leaned on the horn. The van swerved violently, its tires screaming as it turned onto a side trail and vanished into the trees. I pulled over beside the police car, my hands shaking so badly I could barely turn off the engine. The officer approached my window. "What's going on?" he asked calmly. I told him everything, the men, the footsteps, the lock, Karen, the chase. When I finished, he sighed heavily and said, "You're lucky you got out. We've had reports of thefts and assaults in these remote campgrounds. People targeting RV travelers, especially ones camping alone." Backup searched the area later that night, but the van was found abandoned miles away, empty beer cans, drugs, no people, no Karen, just gone like ghosts. I sold my RV a few weeks later, the freedom of the road didn't feel worth the risk anymore. But sometimes at night I still think about that clearing in the woods, the men, the scraping at my door, and Karen's voice in the dark begging me for help. And the worst part is I'll never know if leaving that night saved my life, or sealed hers.